Hi folks, back to oils, to the watercolours. Right, so what have we got? There's my palette. I've got cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, cadmium red deep, I probably won't use it, I might, ultramarine, the light red, and I think it's light red. Oh, it might not be, it might be, so let's check. No, it's it's red ochre. It's a bit lighter than the light red. Put some oil in my pot, just ordinary linseed oil. It takes 2 or 3 days to dry, but if you put it above your fireplace or above a radiator, it'll dry more quickly. Right, okay. As usual, no idea what we're going to do. This is the joy of this way of painting. Let's just... Oh, okay. So the idea of this tonalist type of painting is, well, what I'm doing is very improvised. You just make a few strokes and see where you go, and just develop it as you see fit. It's like casting yourself adrift in a boat on the ocean, middle of nowhere, having a clue which way you're drifting or going, but eventually something will happen. You'll get an idea and you can develop it. So, been a funny old day today. I did one for Patreon, a watercolour for Patreon, but unfortunately it didn't. Well, it recorded, but there was a problem with the memory card. It said scan it. Well, I think it's probably because the little gold bits on the memory card get a bit covered in, or a bit of oil or a bit of watercolour paint on them. So I hope this time it'll work okay. Right, so a bit of oil. Oh, I haven't got me green. I'm going to use sap green. Got loads of that. I bought a 200ml tube of it, but I haven't used the 37ml tube up. Yeah, Winton sap green. So we'll just get in the it's going to be a landscape. I mean, take that as given. But I've been thinking about putting the odd barn or something in it, in these ones. I've gone right in the middle of that. What you don't want to do is to split the painting in two, like I've just done. So I'm going to wipe that out. Ooh. Get a bit of paper, a bit of tissue, and we'll take some of that out now. Alright, okay, fine. Now we'll start again. Just get a bigger one, something over there. I like water. It's just me. I like a bit of reflection, a bit of something different. Maybe something through there, maybe not, maybe just a rural scene. Oh. Got some nice dark in the foreground, dark and red. Texture and tone all the time. Right, let's just take a bit out of that. I quite like that shape. Texture and tone. So plenty of texture on there. I'll develop that. Could be a sort of meadow, or just walking through somewhere. That's not quite sure I like the green on its own without mixing with a bit of red. If you go out in the woods today and have a look at the colours, you'll find that it's all a version of red and green. And you can really simplify in your mind's eye the landscape, reducing it to its utter simplicity. Probably want a big one now on the on here. Let's take it off the top here. I'm not sure whether we can develop these into bushes or trees. Or imagine I'm going down the track there on Beddington Farm Lane. So your darkest dark is going to come from a mixture of the red and the green, without too much. Right, let's do a bit of lifting out there. Got a cotton bud, and right, we're just filling up the cotton bud. Something like that. Let's get some in here, some big ones in here. Try that one. It's a nice new one. Just pushing. We can go over some of this with some leaves. It's just a rough. Right, okay, we need to put a bit of sky in there now. So I keep my brushes separate because sometimes I forget to clean one of the brushes, but soaking them in the washing powder liquid, or not liquid, you make it liquid by adding a bit of water to it. I don't want to mislead you. Right, I'm going to use for my sky, but I'm going to use a bit of that cadmium deep and just get a bit of sky in there. A bit more white in it. Now, the demo I did 3 or 4 weeks ago for some ladies in our church. I sold that one. Sold it off the easel that night. Oh, that's nice. I spent £60 on materials this week, on paints, more paints. So if you want to support on Patreon, feel free. Not compulsory, but it all helps. It's art materials. I bought large tubes of the 200ml tubes of colours that the range had in the UK anyway, and they were about £8.50. Very, very, very inexpensive, but for what you can pay for these things. Now, this way of painting is very simple. It's believing that it's simple is your problem. That painting shouldn't be simple, should it? It should be difficult. But here we are. Look. Creating the illusion of painting. Just put some air back in this. And we can go back over it. Now as you come to the horizon, just lighten it up a little bit. Just yellow ochre. And a bit of white, perhaps a bit of the cad red. When I first started this about 6 years ago, well, I did a couple and I forgot all about it. Well, I didn't, apart from people who kept looking at it. The Dusk, it's on YouTube. Dusk, my first effort of doing this 6 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. But I was cleaning my brushes in paraffin and holding the rag under my nose, and that didn't do me any good. Okay, that's coming on nicely. Got some more light in here. Now, want to get some there. Well, I quite like that. I'll give it a bit of a blend, but I want to get some detail in here. Maybe it's just an illusion of detail, isn't it? Because we're not painting any individual bits. The only painting we've done is lifting out. Alright, let's get some contrast in there now. This is where we want the darks in the shadow areas. Just over here. Now I know a lot of you want to see me do acrylics, but you have to be patient because I'm doing all this. I'm doing the watercolour, but I'm getting quite a bit of interest in this type of painting. So for that reason, I love doing these. They're all different. Let's just get some texture in there. Bury that bit. And then we'll get some texture in. My box of Q-tips. So just do a little bit more painting. Oh. If you can always put dark trunks in or whatever. You can do whatever takes your fancy, but try to keep the painting, the dexterity to the absolute minimum. This is such a lot of fun. Right, okay. Well, I'm going to do something with that. I won't use my lovely big 60mm wafty brush. I'll use a finer one, an old one for that. That one's going a bit hairy on the end, so I'm going to get my scissors and just trim it up. I do. Oh, just that takes any detail out of the sky, just very subtly changes it. Well, there we go. I've done all this without cleaning the brushes. I'll get one of my new towels. Oh. Well, I've got a Guinness one here. Supplied by friends. Wonder what pub they lifted it from. But with the wafting brush, the sort of blender, you want to keep that the paint nice and dry, or the brush nice and dry. Wipe the paint out of it. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to pull the hairs out of the brushes. Right. Now let's go lifting. No, not that one. Try that one. I could put a little bit of a path in there. I think I will. Right, okay. Going into infinity here. Into the mist. Right, we're going to put some darks in there. We want to avoid patterns. So these brushes, this brush is a very cheap one. Well, I bought a pack of them from Hobbycraft for £8.50 or something. 15, 16 brushes. They're no good really for. Well, that one. I don't know if that's one of theirs or not. But that's okay. But these are very cheap brushes, but great for this. Now we've got that in, we can just lift a bit of darker, a bit of light. Look. Alright, let's get a tissue, just do a little bit of a sort of banging. Careful. Just detail, just put a bit of contrast in there. Right, clean the brush. Looking at the screen so I can see any patterns that I don't like. Right. Get a bit of tissue and just shape it into a point, and we can just push a bit of detail into those grasses. Don't want to do too much of this stuff. It's you can get carried away and put too much of that. But what I like is that shows up nicely on the screen as a really nice light area. But I want to get some of that out there. Bit there. No, I haven't got a frame up here. I meant to get one, but it doesn't matter. I just need a little bit more detail in this here. It's just a, okay, well, I'm going to let that go. I think that's quite attractive. It wasn't what I had in mind. I had water in my head. I've got water on the brain, I think. Let's just take that. No, that was better as it left alone, wasn't it? Oh, we just put it back. Right, so we've got a little bit of distance showing through. I could probably make a little bit more of that. I know I'm using red, but autumn colour. Just gives just that impression of going into the distance. Right, okay. There we go. Right, no more, that's it. It's finished, it is finished. Right, I hope you like that one. We've got a bit of a flow through there, which you can look at them for ages, can't you? Let's take that out. A bit better. Right, okay, that'll do. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. That was a bit quite strange in there. I might have moved the camera. Let's just... Right, that's a bit more square on. Go that way. I'll just go that way a bit. Well, I think that's quite good. That's nice. I'm very pleased with that bit. Right, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.